Hello, my name's Harold from Yellow Crane Tai Chi, and in this video what I'm going to try and do is answer one of the frequently asked questions that I get all the time, and that is, what is Tai Chi? I remember when I started doing Tai Chi, a colleague at work described it to me as slow motion karate that old Chinese people do in parks. And apart from the obvious fact that karate is a Japanese word, not a Chinese word, the description isn't actually all that far off. So for most of us, this description of something that Chinese people do in parks is pretty much what we understand as Tai Chi. The thing is, Tai Chi is a lot more than just what these people are doing, and more importantly, it isn't exactly what it's called. Tai Chi is just an abbreviation of a longer name. So let's get behind what these old Chinese people are doing in the park every morning. So to get behind what these old Chinese people are doing, we need to actually look at Tai Chi's name. Or more importantly, the full name that it has that people in China describe it as. And that is Tai Chi Chuan. What this does is gives us a distinction between what we are doing and what we are aiming to do. The goal of Tai Chi Chuan is Tai Chi. The reason why I'm calling it Tai Chi Chuan rather than Tai Chi is to make a distinction between the action of practicing Tai Chi Chuan and the goal of Tai Chi. So this distinction means that we have this exercise Tai Chi Chuan and its ultimate goal Tai Chi. Now Tai Chi Chuan translates into English as Supreme Ultimate Fist. Sounds like a Stan Lee character to me, fighting on the rooftop with Iron Fist. But the idea is that Tai Chi Chuan got its name from the concept of Tai Chi. So before we look at Tai Chi Chuan, let's look at this concept of Tai Chi. So I'm going to use a few visual aids to make this easier for you. So on the screen you can see a rather famous image. Most people know this as the yin-yang symbol, but for me I refer to this as the Tai Chi symbol because it's yin and yang together. So what are yin and yang? Traditionally, using this terminology Supreme Ultimate, they are the two ends of a long spectrum. Traditionally, they're described as things like positive and negative, and male and female. But since these seem to be very kind of linear, one-sided things, we need to look at another way of describing yin and yang. So I'm going to go through a few examples and tell you why they're yin and yang. So first off, we have north and south. This is a very easy one to understand, because when you head north, you head north. And once you get to the North Pole, well, you start heading south again. So the north is the yang and the south is the yin. And the reason that they're yins and yangs is there's a balance, there's a middle point between them. We all know what this is, it's the equator. Next up, we have up and down. You know, everything that's above you is yang, everything beneath you is yin, and where you are is, well, the middle, the just right place. So another relatively simple one, night and day. Day is bright, night is dark. And again, we have another middle point between the two of them. We have dusk and dawn. Along with night and day, we also have hot and cold. This is another simple one to understand. Hot is yang, cold is yin. The easiest way to understand this is to go to one of my favourite stories that relates to Tai Chi for a completely wrong reason. And that's Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You know, this porridge is too hot, this porridge is too cold, and this porridge is just right. Tai Chi is about being just right. And lastly, for a bit of fun, we have dogs and cats. Dogs are very simple and direct animals. Cats are complicated, sometimes elusive animals. You know the old joke, dogs have owners, cats have servants. And if you're wondering exactly what is the middle between a dog and a cat, think of a fox. Looks like a dog, behaves like a cat. So if we're looking at all these different yins and yangs, or as they're put down here, yangs and yins, the thing about them all is they are the supreme ultimates of a spectrum that have a point of balance in the middle. North and south, the equator. Day and night, dusk and dawn. So the idea of Tai Chi is balance of yin and yang. And that's the important word here, balance. Tai Chi is balance. Now, we've already looked at one quality of Tai Chi, and that's balance, but we need to look at something else. So going back to our fancy little Tai Chi symbol, we're going to look at another concept that relates to this Tai Chi. So here we have another very recognizable image. This is the sketch Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci. It's based on a puzzle by a Roman architect called Marcus Vitruvius. But what it is basically squaring the circle. But the important detail here is we have our friend Adam, as Da Vinci would occasionally refer to him, in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our Tai Chi symbol and this piece of classic art and put them together to prove another thing about Tai Chi. Here we have the Tai Chi symbol and Da Vinci sketch put together. And a very interesting thing happens. The middle of the circle corresponds with, well, basically, his belly button. This implies one very interesting thing. Your belly button is roughly your centre of gravity in your body. And the middle of the Tai Chi symbol lies right on top of it. So, as well as being balanced, Tai Chi is centred. Physically centred, if we look at this picture. So here we have another very interesting way of looking at the Tai Chi symbol. As you can see, there's smaller ones inside the bigger ones. If we're being technical, this is actually referred to as the Sierpinski carpet. It's a form of fractal. But my teacher described this to me in a very simple way. It's Tai Chi's all the way up and all the way down. So rather than looking at the whole image, we're simply looking at the little wiggly line in the middle. And what we're doing is we're extrapolating them out and creating sine wave curves. This is very important to show another thing that is very important in Tai Chi. So we used art to prove the concept of centering. And one thing that happens in waves is noise. So we're going to use that to prove something else. Most musical instruments rely on a vibration, i.e. sine waves, to make notes. So if a string produces a basic note, i.e. the first example on the page, we get one sound. So if I take my string and put fractions in it, what I can do is make higher notes. The obvious one being the octave. But then we've got other ones. But all these notes are in harmony with each other. And that's what the point of this is. Tai Chi is about harmony. Now we've defined three characteristics of this theoretical Tai Chi. We have balance, we have centered, and we have harmony. We can use these 3 points to triangulate one final thing that's very important in Tai Chi, and that is flow. So now we have a definition of what Tai Chi is, as in the concept of Tai Chi. This is what we apply to the art of Tai Chi Chuan. The goal of Tai Chi Chuan is balanced, centered, harmonious flow. If we go back to our people in a park in China, we can clearly recognize that their movement is balanced, centered, harmonious, and flowing. The Chinese refer to this particular way of doing things as Wu Wei, which actually translates as not doing. So the goal of Tai Chi Chuan is to be not doing things. So we've defined what the goal of practicing Tai Chi Chuan is, i.e. to be doing Tai Chi, or doing this not doing. So the idea is to not be doing Tai Chi. So now that we've defined our goal of this Tai Chi, this state of Tai Chi, let's look at the exercise of Tai Chi Chuan and how we eventually get to this not doing. To understand how we achieve this goal, we actually have to find out where Tai Chi comes from, or more importantly, what are the components that make Tai Chi specifically Tai Chi. To give us an idea of what makes up Tai Chi, unfortunately, I'm going to have to drag you back to maths class. In particular, we're going to look at a Venn diagram here. So in this box, we have all of the things that old Chinese people do in the park for exercise. This is what we defined at the start, so what we're doing is breaking it down into the smaller parts. At the start, we call this slow motion karate. Now, karate is technically the wrong word because karate is a word from Japan. If we kind of translate it back into Chinese, their version we know as Kung Fu. Now, we've all got a pretty good idea of what Kung Fu is. It's what Bruce Lee does, or Jackie Chan, or Donnie Yen. There are many styles of Kung Fu, and Tai Chi technically is one style of Kung Fu. But there's more to it than just that. So if Kung Fu is the yang, the male, the father of Tai Chi, the yin and Tai Chi's mother is a thing called Qigong. You may or may not have heard of Qigong, but it's becoming very popular right now. It's the new thing coming out of China for people's health. Whilst it's not easy to describe Qigong, its closest relative that we actually know anything about is yoga. They have many similarities, but they also have many, many great differences. But essentially, they're both health-giving exercises. So from the diagram, we can see that Tai Chi fits into the category of both being a style of Kung Fu and a method of Qigong practice. It's a bit like poor Schrodinger's cat. It's either one or the other, or possibly both. For me, to make my life easier, the way I've always thought of Tai Chi as a form of Qi Gong Fu. It's both at the same time. Now we have our definition of yin and yang in Tai Chi, well, at least the practice of Tai Chi, and that's Qigong and Kung Fu. In Tai Chi, we call Qigong Qigong, and the Kung Fu part we normally refer to as form, the actual sequences of Tai Chi that we practice together in groups. Now let's have a look at how we break these down to actually achieve this goal of Tai Chi or Wu Wei. Like I said previously, Tai Chi has yins and yangs all the way up and all the way down. So we can separate our yin-yangs into further yin-yang pairs. So in terms of Qigong, we have a pair of stillness in movement and movement in stillness. Basically, this describes whether or not you're standing still or you're moving around. In terms of form, again, because form is yang and yang is simple and direct, we can split this into a yin-yang pair very simply, which is, are you doing it on your own or are you doing it with a friend? So we have solo forms and we have partnered forms. So breaking down our still Qigongs, we end up with two things. We end up with meditation and we end up with standing. As we can see from the diagram, meditation is the most yin of practices in Tai Chi. This can either be done standing or sitting. Most of us have a fair idea of what meditation is, so the goal of meditation in Tai Chi is very much the centering of oneself. In Tai Chi, meditation's yang brother is something we call standing. The Chinese refer to this as Zanzong. In many respects, the standing practice in Tai Chi is the one thing that's closest to yoga. Basically, we take postures and hold them for a period of time. The goal of this practice is the harmony of Tai Chi. We're trying to define what our body feels like when it's in its right state. We're looking for that just right scenario, just like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Now we move over to the movement-based Qigongs. Now the principles here in breaking them down are breathing and moving. Again, it's breathing making you move and moving making you breathe. Whilst you're always moving and you're always breathing in these types of Qigongs, it's less to do with what you're doing and more of the focus on what you're doing. So the yin of this pair is breathing Qigong. That's where you concentrate on your breathing to make the movements happen. This is the yin side of moving Qigong. So obviously, moving Qigong is where you use the movement and concentrate on that and let the breathing happen by itself. The interesting thing about this pair is you can do the same Qigong but focus it differently. So for example, in my classes, I will use an exercise and use movement-based form of it as a warm-up and a breathing-based form of it as a cool-down. So moving back over to the yang side of form, again being simple and direct, solo forms can be broken down into two categories. Basically, ones you do without anything in your hand, which is the most common form of Tai Chi practice, and my personal favourite, weapons forms, picking up swords, sticks, and even fans. Now, obviously, this is not done as in the old-fashioned way of you learning to swing these around to fight people in war. They're more of a kind of a resistance method. Having something in your hand while you're practicing takes a little bit of concentration and works very much on your balance. When it comes to partner practice, we can break these down into two sections. One that's known as push hands, or Tui Shu to the Chinese, and the other is application and application theory. Push hands basically encompasses any partner drill, something when you're doing Tai Chi with a friend. You stick to a sequence, there's no winners or losers. The only thing about it is develop sensitivity, and more importantly, the harmony that we're looking for in Tai Chi. Last but by no means least is application. This is actually doing Tai Chi as a form of Kung Fu. This is teaching you self-defense principles. Tai Chi essentially came from a period of China where you had to know how to defend yourself. Chinese history is full of feudal conflicts, and Tai Chi, like every other form of Kung Fu, was designed to protect you and your family from invaders. Now, it's not necessary to do application theory, but at the end, it is one thing that really does help with your Tai Chi. The one great thing about Tai Chi is there are all these various options to do. Now, you can do all 8 and develop them all, or pick on specific ones that help you the most. There is no definitive route through Tai Chi. For one person, they may want to learn how to use a sword, but somebody else may want to learn how to meditate. A good Tai Chi player, however, will try and learn everything. So we can take any of these branches and stick it underneath another one. So if you're confident in one of the branches, you can then try and apply the other concept to it. For example, in application, you want to be in a meditative state. You want to be calm. We all know that losing your temper is a good way to lose a fight. But on the same respect, we can consider applications in meditation. Now, this sounds quite confusing, but if you've ever played Go, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Hopefully by now you have a better understanding of what Tai Chi is, or more importantly, this goal of harmonious, centered, balanced flow. This takes time and this takes a little bit of effort. Obviously, your balance-centered, harmonious flow won't be the same as mine. And because there's so many options to find your own way, everybody's journey in Tai Chi is different. This is something a lot of people don't understand. It's going along to a class does not necessarily mean you do exactly what the teacher is doing. For example, I enjoy hitting people and swinging around sticks, but not everybody's into that. If you want to know more about Tai Chi, there's plenty of other information on the internet, but I can highly recommend this book. It was written by my late teacher and is basically the culmination of his life's work. I'll put the links below for Amazon and other suppliers. It's available in paperback and in Kindle. If you've enjoyed this video and found the information useful, please like and subscribe to our channel. By all means, put a comment below if you have any other questions, but we will be putting out more videos with more information about Tai Chi. We also have some videos on Tai Chi and Qigong, so you can have a little bit of instruction and practice at home. I've been Harold from Yellow Crane Tai Chi, and thanks for watching.